You probably know him for his lighthearted songs and his, let's say, deep appreciation for dandelion wine. But today, we're going to uncover the secrets hiding behind that melody. Behind all the mischief of Mondstadt's most famous bard, there's this incredible story of revolution, grief, and divine power that's thousands of years old.
So yeah, this is Venti, the wandering bard of Mondstadt. To pretty much everyone in the city, he's a familiar face, even if he's a little strange. But the truth? Almost everything people think they know about him is just a performance. And it's a performance he's been perfecting for a very, very long time. So who is the real person behind the lyre?
On the surface, he's just this musician who kind of showed up out of nowhere, sings old songs, hums new ones. But when you start to look a little closer, you find some very specific quirks.
Okay, so let's get into it. The guy loves apples and a lively crowd, can't stand cheese or anything slimy. Oh, and he has a major cat allergy, which, let me tell you, is a bit of a problem in a city that's full of them. But here's the real kicker. For all his love of taverns, he looks so young that bartenders are constantly refusing to serve him.
So what does a clever, thirsty bard do when he can't buy his own wine? Well, he comes up with a brilliant little scheme. Instead of asking for money for his performances, he just tells his audience, hey, if you like my music, buy me a drink. It's a genius, if slightly cheeky solution that pretty much made him a local legend.
But the real mystery of Venti, the thing that starts to unravel it all, is his music. See, he isn't just singing your average tavern songs about romance or adventure. He sings about the gods, and more specifically, he sings about Mondstadt's own patron deity. While all the other bards are sticking to the official histories, the well-known stories of the Anemo Archon, Barbatos, Venti's songs are, well, they're different. They're packed with these bizarre adventures and mischievous acts that you will not find in any history book.
I mean, just listen to this one. He sings about a time when Barbatos supposedly snuck in, stole the scepter from the super-powerful Cryo Archon, and swapped it out with a basic wooden club from a monster. To anyone who actually worships Barbatos, this is like complete blasphemy. But Venti, he just smiles.
And when people call him out on it, you know what he says? He just looks at them and asks this. He challenges them. I mean, who could possibly know the tiny details of what a god was doing thousands of years ago? And that question, that's the key. Because Venti isn't just making up stories about the Anemo Archon, he's remembering them. They're his own memories.
To really understand who Venti is, we have to go way back. We're talking 2,600 years ago, to a time before Mondstadt was ever called the City of Freedom. Back then, it was basically a frozen prison, ruled by an absolute tyrant.
So picture this. During the massive Archon War, the city of Old Mondstadt was completely sealed off from the world by this impenetrable hurricane. It was created by its ruler, Decarabian, the god of storms. And living inside that storm was a tiny, nameless elemental spirit, just a little thread of wind, who would one day be known as Barbatos.
This little spirit, the one we now know as Venti, became friends with a young human boy who lived inside the storm-walled city. The boy was a musician, a lyre player, and he had one simple wish, for a world he had never, ever seen.
He just wanted to see the sky, and the green grass, and birds flying free. All these things that the storm kept from him. That simple desire for freedom, well, it sparked a rebellion. A huge fight to overthrow the tyrant god, and finally break down those walls of wind. And they did it. The rebellion was successful. The tyrant fell, and the storm walls just vanished. But that victory came at a terrible price. The young boy, the lyre player, was killed in the fighting. And in that exact moment, as the old god fell, that little wind spirit absorbed the divine power and ascended. It became the new Anemo Archon, Barbatos.
So, what's the very first thing he does as a new god? He takes on the human form of his friend who died. He chose to look just like the boy so he could play the lyre that his friend loved, and so that the boy's dream of seeing a world of freedom could live on through him. The bard we see today, he's a living, breathing tribute.
So Barbatos reshaped Mondstadt into this new nation of freedom, and, thinking his job was done, he just left. But about 1,000 years later, something happened that forced him to come back.
And this is where it gets so interesting, right? This duality. On one hand, you've got Venti the bard, allergic to cats, can't get a drink at a tavern. And on the other, you have Barbatos the god, an ancient being who can literally split mountains in half and who toppled a tyrant. He's living both of these lives at the exact same time.
So, for 1,600 years, Barbatos was gone. And in that time, the freedom he had given Mondstadt, it was corrupted. A cruel aristocracy took over and started enslaving the people. The god of freedom had to come back to free his nation all over again.
But this time, he went for cunning instead of just raw divine power. His plan? A perfect forgery. He actually created a fake treaty that sold all of Mondstadt to the Geo-Archon next door. He even copied the Archon's insignia flawlessly, a skill he'd ironically gotten good at centuries earlier trying to prank the guy. And the result was brilliant. The aristocracy's own soldiers, terrified of being enslaved under a new, even harsher ruler, turned on their masters. Freedom was won again, not with a storm, but with some ink and a really, really clever lie.
Okay, this brings us to one last, really crucial detail that ties his entire identity together, and it's something he carries with him all the time, hiding in plain sight.
So, in this world, a vision is a gift from the gods, right? It's a sign of their favor, and it lets a mortal control the elements. All the most powerful people have one, and Venti has one too. Or does he?
Here's the secret. Venti's vision is totally fake. As an Archon, he is the source of that power. He doesn't need a little trinket to command the wind. He wears a simple glass orb he made himself for one reason: to blend in with the mortals he loves and wants to live among. It's the ultimate symbol of his commitment to being human.
But this little glass fake does have one special trick up its sleeve. It can transform into a simple wooden lyre. The name of that lyre? Der Frühling. It was the exact kind of instrument his friend, the boy from 2,600 years ago, loved to play. Even his disguise is a tribute to the memory that started this whole incredible journey.
And that really gets to the core of it all, doesn't it? Is he just this ancient, all-powerful god wearing a costume so he can walk among people? Or has the grief, the friendship, and the dream of that long-lost human boy so profoundly changed him that the line between the boy he remembers and the god he became has just blurred forever? Now that is a story worth more than a few sips of wine.